For that reason, let's move on and talk about the main event, man. This is a fatal five-way for the WWE Championship, WWE Championship. This is Big E defending the title against Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Brock Lesnar. Am I missing someone?
No, I mean, you took the name Brock Lesnar, and the first thing, I mean, the morning when I woke up today, I was like, what? Roman Reigns is not going to face Brock Lesnar? Come on, this is such a big letdown. But ultimately, then when we came to know that Brock Lesnar is going to be in this match, I was like, okay, yeah, okay. And we kind of knew what to expect out of this match, and turns out that that's exactly what happened.
And this match went 8.5 minutes. But for what it was, this was great. And I repeat it again. You could have given 10 minutes to this one from the Edge versus Miz match and gave that time to this one. Like this match deserved it. I wanted this match to go for on and on. Like the first minute or so was super great.
Right. I mean, Brock Lesnar in the ring with any opponent, you know what's going to happen. You don't have to even think twice. There's going to be a lot of bodies falling around all over the ring.
So the story here was like the match started from the get go here. Like Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins were working together, and they decided to go after Brock Lesnar. While Biggie and Bobby Lashley were fighting outside, but Brock Lesnar, being Lesnar, quickly we saw a bunch of German suplexes on Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. I think at one point Owens got dumped on his head, which was
Yes,
insane.
yes, yes. I mean, Kevin Owens is known for doing such insane stuff, and that's why he's one of my favorites as well. So yeah, I mean, he's a really matter of fact, he's my birthday twin. Okay, May 7th. Remember the date. Kevin Owens and Godfrey Fonseca, both of us celebrate our birthdays, and we are both equally extreme and insane.
Oh, that's great news. But about this match, as I was saying, so let's Rollins and Owens are being German suplexed. Biggie enters the match. He tries to knock down Lesnar with a suplex. He dumps Lesnar out of the ring. So he and Lashley, fight again. Biggie gets taken out by Lashley. I think he rams him on the what do you call it? The apron
Right.
or the steel post,
The Not the steel post. So I guess the on the side. I guess
the LED board.
I no, no, not that, not that. I forgot. You're talking about the spear, right? Which Bobby Lashley landed on Lesnar.
No, I was talking about it was actually the spot with Lashley and Biggie, where Lashley rams his opponent through the ring post or something like that. And
Oh
now
yeah,
that you
yeah, yeah.
mentioned the
Yes.
spear. This we could
Spear was
say,
after that.
yeah, this was the first interaction of Lashley and Lesnar. I think you could have saved this with a typical WWE style. A stare down would have been great before they actually fought.
I don't know, man. I mean, if you talk about a stare down at the end of the match when Lesnar was champion in the ring, there was kind of a stare down when Lashley was outside. There's a post on social media, WWE social media, where Lashley is like pretty freaked out and like he's frustrated at what has just happened, and Lesnar is the champ in the ring. So I guess we are getting that match at all numbers. Lesnar versus Lashley. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, I get your point, but this is somewhat of a special thing that Lashley and Lesnar are together in a ring, so you could have done a good old stare down, wouldn't hurt. Would have got the a good reaction from the crowd as well.
Yeah, no doubt there would have been a really good reaction. But speaking about stare downs, whenever you talk about stare down like this, I still feel bad that the stare down which we got between Roman Reigns and Keith Lee didn't lead to anything, unfortunately. But yeah, in this case, Lashley versus Lesnar could have been a really good spot if the both of them were in the ring, looking at each other with those big meaty men standing up against each other. But it is what it is. I mean, before we move on, I would just like to say that there was one spot which I personally loved. Rollins and Owens were pretty much teaming up against Lesnar, and there was a frog splash by Owens from the ringside
Mm-hmm.
uh, to onto Lesnar, who was laying down there. So that was a really cool spot. I mean, I loved that. I felt that it was just another example of how extreme Kevin Owens can be.
But yeah, Lesnar was speared by Lashley through the barricades, and you mentioned Rollins and Kevin Owens were attacking, double teaming both Lesnar and Lashley because they are the two threats. So I think I don't know what was actually was happening inside the ring, but it was down to just Owens, Rollins, and Biggie. So at one point, out of nowhere, Lesnar comes back. He's F5ing everyone. Like he F5s Rollins, Owens. I think he F5'd Biggie as well. I don't know. But Lashley then comes back. He spears Lesnar again and goes for the hurt lock and
Yes,
locks
I
it in.
remember.
So Biggie breaks that and hits the big ending on Lashley. Lesnar picks up Biggie, hits the F5. One, two, three. Brock Lesnar is new WWE champion. Crowd didn't boo. They actually cheered for it because at this moment, Lesnar is a bigger babyface than Biggie. So the title run is over for Biggie. Lesnar is a champion again. And you talked about the stare down, man, with Lashley and Lesnar. Like they did actually put a lot focus on that situation. So lot of scenarios to think about here.
Yeah, I mean, fans are now going to be thinking as if who is going to be Lesnar's opponent next. I mean, if you look at where this feud actually began, Biggie was champion. Seth Rollins won. I don't know. There was some gauntlet. I forgot what was it exactly, but Seth Rollins had this red color contract or something, and he was bound to face Biggie. And we all thought that Seth Rollins versus Biggie is going to happen for the title at some point. One thing led to another. Next thing you know, you've got five people in a match, and the winner is someone who wasn't even advertised up to 24 hours ago. No doubt, Brock Lesnar being a champion, I'm really excited about it. I guess Raw can be a bit more watchable now, but I think this was sort of a last moment panic sort of move made by WWE to, you know, put the title on Brock Lesnar, and for obvious reasons. I mean, Biggie, when he became the champion by cashing in on Lashley, it all seemed pretty good, but his entire reign was pretty much lackluster, I would say.
Let me tell you something about Biggie's title run. Bad timing.
Yes. But I mean, look, the when it began, it was really good, I would say. But keeping in mind who the other contenders were, what was the entire pool of superstars, along with whom the who are the feuds going to happen with. Talk about Kevin Owens, you talk about Bobby Lashley. Now that Lesnar has come over there, Seth Rollins. You know, it yeah, I would say it was sort of bad timing. It felt really good when he cashed in like that day. You will not see a single negative tweet. Everyone was just happy that Biggie cashed in and became WWE champion. Biggie is one such likable character, I would say. He's among the few likable characters. You talk about Hangman Page as well. Uh, I would say that Biggie cashing in on Bobby Lashley and Hangman Page defeating Omega. I mean, uh, it was definitely something which felt really good at that time, but the reign after that has been lackluster. You talk the similar thing has been with Adam Page as well. I don't even feel that he is the current AEW champion right now, and it was a kind of a similar situation with Biggie as well. Now that Biggie has lost the title, Lesnar is the main champ. So let's see what goes on next.
At this point, I don't know. Lashley versus Lesnar at WrestleMania. Um, I will buy that.
I mean, yeah, that could be a potential plan, but then you've got to see what happens in the next few months. I mean, WWE have a Royal Rumble to go with. I guess they'll be having Elimination Chamber. I don't know if there's any other pay-per-view over there. I think Fastlane, if I'm not wrong.
I don't think we have a fast lane. I think we have
Not
Elimination Chamber after Rumble. Maybe a Saudi show, I guess.
a Saudi show. Okay, so Saudi show, Brock Lesnar is definitely going to be there. So yeah, they've got a few matches to fill in. Maybe I guess Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Lashley versus Lesnar is definitely something I would love to see at Mania. So let's see what happens. I mean, you've got to keep some good opponents for Roman Reigns as well because he needs. I mean, I'm still going to advocate that Walter versus Roman Reigns should happen at WrestleMania, but who knows what happens? Walter may show up on Raw and go after Lesnar or something like that.
Just talked about scenarios for WrestleMania. Lashley versus Lesnar. That fits well for the WWE title for one of the main events. Um, you can do it, and by default, the other night could be Roman, main eventing with the Universal title. But what about now that Lesnar is WWE champion? Roman is Universal champion. Both are definitely going into Mania as champions. What if we have a unification scenario?
As far as I'm concerned, the unification scenario for the men's division, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I will definitely not enjoy that. As we talked earlier, for the women's division, having a unification title, I think that will make more sense. But for the men's side, maybe they can change the concept of the universal title, bring back the big gold. But unifying the titles, I'm not a fan of that, to be honest.
Yeah, I get your point, but even I don't mind Universal Championship being its own thing, WWE title being its own thing. The rest of the titles that they have can be unified. Not talking about the IC and US one, but in this case, there is an opportunity, I guess. Don't unify it. If that's the case, don't unify it. Winner take all. Do that. Don't you? You didn't have to unify it.
Winner take winner take all, then I mean, yeah, then there's going to be a lot of scenarios which WWE can play with. Suppose if Lesnar and Reigns go at it against each other, winner take all, assuming say Roman Reigns wins both the titles, what next? Like you've somehow got to have one title being lost to someone from one brand, another one to another brand. So it's going to be a lot of complex scenarios. But yeah, I mean, I guess we as fans right now need not worry about that. WWE have, uh, I assume, a qualified management to make these decisions. So let's see what they think and do.
You see, there are a lot of fun scenarios that they could play around.
Exactly, exactly. And I don't know. I just want Walter to show up at Royal Rumble and win the men's Royal Rumble. That's something what I want.
I don't know, man. That's a bit little scary for me. The fact that he's will be handled by Vince and Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel he's kind of a Vince McMahon guy. I mean, Vince could probably love him. I mean, there are a lot of jokes around, like Vince calling him and saying, "Hey, come here, you, yeah, this, that, the various things." But yeah, I guess if Vince really wants someone credible whom the fans can get behind and who is actually believable to defeat Roman Reigns at this point, I guess Walter has to be their go-to guy.
Walter, in my opinion, is a great candidate to take the title of Roman. But it's not happening soon. Walter is yet to get on the main roster. But seeing the
I mean,
WrestleMania situation,
with Walter, I definitely have some hopes that he shows up at Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, and goes on to challenge directly. That's something what I see happening. But as you said, who knows what happens in real?
see another great scenario. These all three great scenarios that we mentioned is really fun to if it comes to reality.